Welcome to the 5-Year You podcast, a show dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself one day at a time. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kat, and we promise to keep it raw, real, and relatable.
Are you ready to grow? High Five Tribe, welcome back. I'm Andrew, and today's episode is called Leaving a Legacy, and it is our 5th installment of 5 of our coaching series, where we walk you through our framework of the layers of life to help you best understand what you want for yourself in the future. How are you doing today, Kat?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. This layer is a little easier for everybody to kind of understand because they live mostly, we all kind of live on that outer layer, and that outer layer is significance. It's who am I? What am I here for? It covers things like possessions, appearance, accomplishments, recognition, and it's a little more egoic, I guess, in its approach, but it's still we have to acknowledge our egos. We're not trying to be selfless. We're trying to honor ourselves. However, when we come from the inside out, this layer is vastly different from the outside in. Would you want to be able to kind of break down the difference between inside out, outside in?
Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, we're doing something a little bit differently where we are doing a series of 5 podcast episodes, this being the 5th one, where we take you through how we would take a client through our 5-week coaching program, which is 5 weeks to future you. We use a framework we developed called the layers of life, and every week we take you through a different layer. The very first one being your soul, who you are, what matters to you. And each layer goes out. So we talk about family and friends and career and all of these things. And in the final week, we get to the 5th layer, which is significance. Now, we teach people to live life from the inside out, meaning from the inner layer of these 5 layers out. So many people are living from the outside in. That means they are basing their identity and their happiness on this outer layer. Things that would go in this outer layer would be your title at work, your salary, how big of a house you have, the brand of car you have. Many people make decisions not based on the inside, that is their authentic self, but based on the outside, what society thinks that you should do, what your parents think, what your culture has taught you to do. And so when looking from the outside in, this becomes a very different feeling from the inside out. Outside in is like, how am I showing up? Do people believe that I am somebody or that I am successful? And from the inside out, it's how do I leave people feeling, what is my significance? What type of legacy do I want to leave on this world? How have I made an impact? How have I made other people's lives better? And so we encourage people to think about the real significance they want to leave, the mark they want to leave on this world, rather than getting so caught up in what everyone else believes is a successful life.
I love that. I think you described it to a T. Thank you. Yeah, when we're talking about this, coming from the inside out is very different. So right now, a lot of us are caught up in North America. We're caught up in the rat race. We're caught up in the be, have, do type of mentality of, actually, it's less be, it's more have and do, of like, what's the next thing that's going to make me feel better? What's that next little dopamine hit? Is it the car? Is it the vacation? Is it the next toy? It's the stuff. When you change that, when you stop living trying to impress everybody else, a lot of that fluff kind of goes away, and you realize who you truly are and how you want to show up in the world. And it's a process of discovery where you get to kind of look at things and see that you want to leave more than just your job title on this world. You want to know that when you have an interaction, I know for myself, it's when I interact with somebody, I want to make sure that I'm leaving them better than when I got there. So, and it doesn't always happen, but that is the goal. Like, that's kind of how I want to show up in the world. That's part of my legacy. I want to have an impact on a positive note in people's lives, and hence the podcast. Can you speak to a little bit about your own impact and your own significance?
Yeah, believe that if I can make a difference or help just one person, it will have been worth it. I think that I was very much attached to the idea of a checklist. I remember very much wanting to publish a book by 30. I don't know where I got that number from, but it was definitely after I turned 30 that I published my book. I know that there were things I wanted to accomplish and do, and that for a long time, because I come from like an achiever mindset, an achiever family, which is very common in North America, I equated all of those things with worthiness. And now I can look at something using the book as an example in a different way. And that is, I wrote it to help people. You know, if there is a mom that read Mom's Got Money and I motivated her in some way or encouraged her to start a business or encouraged her to learn about investing and make her life better, then it will have been worth it. And of course, you know, our greatest legacy is having these 4 kids that we have combined and creating more thoughtful, kind people to go out into the world. So I did used to view it in the very common outside in way. I thought I had to do all these things and achieve all these things to matter. And now, with all the wisdom in the world, I I
It's not
just
what you said, it's how you said it. Just to be
yes,
clear. It's funny.
I just try to put that good energy into my work, whether I write an article or do a podcast like this or talk to a friend. It makes me feel good to know that people know they can come to me for support. And I don't know if anyone besides my kids will remember me when I'm gone or if I'll make a huge impact in the time that I have left or just a little one. But I do know that I try every day to think about, like, if this was the last one, did I do something to help somebody else? Did someone else feel better because I was in their life for a moment? And that's how I like to view it.
Of that. I think that is a very honorable way to do it. And I love how your view on your book has changed. The book's called Mom's Got Money, and it's available on Amazon. What I want to reach out, this is a little different in our coaching call because by the time we've got to this point, if you're just tuning into this first episode, it might leave a little feel a little different. But when we are talking about our lives, this is where most of us are. Most of us are we're searching for something. So if you find yourself on this outer layer and you are focused on having the right friends and the right places, being in the right places and keeping up with the Joneses, and you're finding that it's not cutting it for you anymore and that there is something intrinsically missing in your life, I'm going to tell you the good news. The good news is that the person missing in your life is you. You have been trying to treat yourself like everybody else without honoring yourself and discovering who you are. This process does this, and we nurture you through these steps. We're your support team when we love helping people with this because we believe that the more people that are living their life purpose, the more people that are understanding why they're here. And that can change. I just want to be clear. It's not like you discover your life purpose and it changes. It's an evolution. And we're just helping you evolve through these phases. So if you're finding yourself that you got that little tug or that emptiness in your heart and you're like, I don't know what it is. I have the family, I have the things that I want to have, but something's missing. That thing missing is you. And you owe it to yourself now and forever to discover who you are because you're a beautiful person. I don't know you personally yet, but I can tell you, listener, that you are an amazing person who deserves to be acknowledged. You deserve to find out and get to know yourself on a deep level so that you can bring your best to the world.
Yeah. Every single person is here for a reason. We're here to learn lessons, and we are all blessed to have the skills and the talents and the thoughts that we have. You know, Andrew and I call it like, you know, pushing buttons, like kind of like you're basically like in heaven, you're about to come down, you're like, sure, I'll take blonde hair, sure, I'll take, you know, good at math, sure, I'll take this. And It seems like some people pushed a lot of buttons on the way down, and you might not feel like you have anything special, like maybe you missed the button, section on your way down.
Skip that
But
room. Yeah.
it's not true. Everybody has something to offer to the world, even if it's a kind word, even if it's your general nature. And it's taken me a long time to believe this, but you don't have to be like a Nobel Prize winning scientist to make a difference in the world. I think about, because of the work we do, I think about people and their stories all the time. I'm being a very serious empath. I can tell when someone's going through a hard time, whether they're making my coffee at Starbucks or cutting me off in traffic. Life can be challenging, and you don't have to do something big to make a legacy or change somebody's life in a positive way. There's no list or award or trophy that's like, oh, you did it. You made a legacy. Here it is in the mail. Here's your legacy medal. It's not that. It's you, and you get to show up authentically how you want to be. You get to decide how you want to feel. And that's what we're talking about with this last category. We try to help people see that sometimes we get lost and we get caught up in the wrong things, and we think we have to live a certain way or by a certain set of rules, and it's just not true.
You're right. It's not true. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, we offer a complimentary meeting where we help you discover your purpose. There's no sales or anything. We just genuinely like to help people with this. This is what kind of fulfills our soul. And you can do that by going to 5yearyou.com, and there's book an appointment. It's completely complimentary. We just want to meet you and help you. I had a moment a few months back, and Kat, you know about this, but I was sitting next to a lady and I didn't know that she was psychic, but I just want whoever's sitting here listening to this, imagine this happening to you. She was sitting next to me. She put her hand on my arm and said, you are going to help somebody who is going to do an amazing thing, and they're only going to be able to do it because of how you've helped them. I don't have any other information. I don't know who it is. I don't know when it's going to happen, but thank you, because it changes everything. And I even just saying that just kind of makes my heart swell, because it's like, isn't that what we want? I think the hard part of that is that I'm never going to know. I don't know if, the person, like if the little kid I talked to today becomes president 60 years later, but I do know that life is so much better when you know what you're here for and you actively go out and help people with it, because you're fulfilling your dharma, your purpose, I think dharma is the right word. And I think when you're fulfilling your purpose, it's a feeling that is really hard to explain. It's cliche to say it's a feeling that money can't buy, but that's the truth. So imagine you are listening to this right now, and there's somebody out there whose life gets so much better because you take the time to discover your purpose and dig in and become your authentic self. And you set yourself as a role model for your friends, your family, your children, grandchildren for decades to come. Your spark is that lights a gigantic fire. Start thinking of yourself and giving yourself more credit for what you do, because what you do is so important. It might not feel like it in the moment. It might not feel like the smile at the Uber driver who's having a bad day helped too much, but these little things shift them in ways that you'll never quite understand.
I agree with that. And the world needs more kindness. And I feel like sometimes people panic when we say we help you find your purpose. I think a lot of people are feeling lost. It might be more than one thing. And like Andrew said, it might be something that changes over time. But usually, if we can identify a purpose, a goal, something you just like doing, and we encourage you to do that, it really helps people break out of the rat race, the challenging days, the days that all seem to kind of blend together, that are busy, that are just filled with what we call like 3D life of commute and work and deadlines and kids and activities and dinner and dogs throwing up and all the different things, that if you could have something that's for you, authentically you, that you give yourself the time to do, whether it's volunteering at a dog shelter or practicing the musical instrument that you haven't revisited since you started having kids, or writing poetry, it doesn't have to be seen by millions of people. It doesn't have to make you money. It doesn't have to, become a success again, that a million awards come in. It has to just be something for you, something that is just joyful and makes a difference. And that's what we help people find. We help people sort of cling to that as a guiding light versus being guided by what society says that you should be and have and do.
Yeah, that's really well said. When you are starting out on this midlife journey of awakening and discovering the new version of yourself, it's important that you have support around you. And Catherine, I'll thank you again, because I don't do this journey without your support. It's been very, very touching, and you've been really supportive along the way. And a lot of times where, it would have been easier to revert to old ways because that's familiarity is easier, but you have encouraged encouraged me to keep growing and challenging myself and to get out there. This podcast is the result of that. A lot of the things that we do now, we wouldn't have done for years because we were caught up in the loop. We were caught up in that loop. And I just want to take this moment to truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me. I don't want to say you gave me permission, but you helped me give me permission to start doing what felt right. And if I can do that for you in your lifetime, I'll feel like I've helped as well.
Well, I think you know that you've helped me too. And the thing about Andrew is that Andrew didn't realize all of the gifts that he had. And we find that with a lot of people. And I'm always telling the kids this too, is really all I did was point out what was already there in you, Andrew, and just encourage you to share it with the world. But
Thank
I
you.
didn't
But
do anything except say what was already there.
and that's kind of your gift. And that's why I'm so adamant about people getting the call. Because once they talk with you, you pull out stuff like in a conversation that I miss. I have a different skill set with this, but what you do is you see the missing words, and you've always been so good at this. And like, we'll have a conversation afterwards, just like, not even with coaching, but with anybody. And you'll be like, did you notice how this, and this? I'm like, no, I did not. I did not catch those things, but did you see this, and this? And we make a great team because that's just, we've worked together for so long. But I can truly say that I'm so glad we got out of the SEO website blog stuff that we were doing for like when we first started working together, because it was good and it served its purpose. But I always come off these podcasts feeling like I've just helped somebody, and I don't know when or where that's going to be, but I know I can feel differently about it. And that's such a good feeling. So listener, thank you very much for letting me live my soul's purpose. You do that every time you listen to an episode of ours. It just means so much. And if you want to leave a review, that's great too. But I do appreciate, that you lend me your ears for a half hour a week. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, and same here. And we said this in the last episode, but I'll bring it up in this one as well. A good episode to listen to after this one is The Rules Are Fake. That's one of my favorite episodes that we recorded. And we really go into how society has made us believe that we have to do all of these different things in order to be happy. We have glorified social media subscribers as our mark of worthiness. We have glorified portraying, fake versions of ourselves on social media. We've glorified money and prestige and status and luxury cars, and all of those things are fun and amazing, but not if your whole life is based on acquiring those things and using those as a testament to the fact that you're worthy. You were born worthy. You were born worthy of anything that you desire. Your desires are there for a reason. Your gifts are there for a reason. And as coaches, we love learning about people, finding out what their gifts are, and encouraging them to pursue them guilt-free.
I think it'd be good to kind of recap the last 5 episodes, just for somebody who's kind of got to the end of these and is like, okay, what do I do? So in the beginning, you're going to book a call with us and we're going to help you discover your soul's purpose. And that is not going to be as heavy as you think. In fact, it's probably going to be one of the more enjoyable conversations you've had in the last few years because you get to talk to Kat and she's awesome.
I was about to say, wow, that's promising a lot. We're so great. Just call us.
No,
It'll
no, I
be
don't.
better than anyone else you've talked to.
No, I don't mean it like that. But I mean, like, you're going to talk to strangers, essentially, who only want the best for you. And you can show up without worrying about what your mom might think or your spouse or your kids or your friends at work. You get to just come and share and discover. And to me, like, I wish I had us when I was going through this. And then once we get to that, so then once you kind of know your soul's purpose and you have a feel for that, then you move to the second layer. So the second layer it's all about yourself. And we cover spiritual, emotional, physical, mental. And that's just basically how you as a self want to show up in this world. And then once you know yourself, you move into the social aspect. And that social aspect is how you want to be with your friends, your family, your community, and what level of intimacy you want to have with these different groups of people and individuals. From there, we move to substance on the fourth ring. And the fourth ring is all about how you're going to spend your time and creating a lifestyle around who you are now, who you want to be. And it's not about quitting the 9 to 5 and moving into a completely different place. It's acknowledging what you want so that you can take purposeful and meaningful steps towards this on an ongoing basis, which is what we encourage you to do. We don't want you to, we want you to get there in 5 years. We don't want you to get there tomorrow, even though for a lot of times it does happen faster once you have that clarity. And then you get to the final level, which is which is significance, which is what we're talking about today, and that impact you leave on the world. When you have clarity on all those things, on the people you want in the life, on who you are, on your purpose, on what kind of life you want to live, on the impact you want to give, those things are going to be so helpful, and it will change how you view your days. Suddenly, you're not just getting up and going through the hamster wheel. You are getting up and you're going, I can put more time into my purpose today, whatever that might be. In a lot of times people have their purpose inside their job. They just needed to discover it. But it's all about discovery.
Yeah, I love that. I think you summed it up perfectly. And it sounds like a lot to cover. It is 5 weeks. There's a break in the middle. There's an intro call in the beginning. There's another call at the end where we create a plan for the next few years. There's accountability. There's the ability to message us throughout your time if you have questions or need encouragement in between calls. Basically, we're inviting you to be our friend and join us in this club of people who are dedicated to living authentically, whatever that means for them. And we'd be honored to have you along for the ride.
Yeah. So if you've listened to these episodes and they speak well to you, please book a call with us. We would love to hear from you. And as you go through your day today, I want you to think about how you are honoring yourself, because that's really where this all starts from, is your soul. Are you acknowledging your own needs, your own wants, your own desires? And if you're not, that is okay. But know that. And then you can shift towards trying to honor yourself. Kat, you and I were both very much not doing this, and we are still learning to do it in a greater and greater capacity. And it's been so amazing to have that curiosity of trying things on that you didn't know you might like, and letting things go that you're like, yeah, I don't know why I do this habit. It's a terrible habit. It doesn't serve me, and I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to replace it with this new habit. It's just been really, really fun to go through discovery with you and with our clients. And I think one of the things I love the most is when after a session, we'll get a message from them on our private group app saying, I was just thinking about this and I just had this huge insight. And those are the moments that I love. They just keep me going through the day. I'm like, yes, they broke through, and we want you to have lots and lots of breakthroughs.
I agree. So book a call, send us an email, hello@5yearyou. We're looking forward to meeting you. And yeah, so we'll get back to our regular style of podcasts next episode. But now everybody has a group of 5 podcasts, and they get a little sample of what it might be like to work with us.
Until next time, folks, we'll talk to you then.
Hey guys, quick disclaimer. We're podcasters on the internet. If you need to seek professional help, please go see your healthcare professional.